Got Michael Matucci on the show. He is a PhD in transformational life coaching and a partner with Encompass Life, which is known for their breakthrough technology for shifting people's lives radically and helping others do it too. Michael, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Joel. Great to be here, man.
I'm excited to jam out with you, man. You know, when I first met you and came in contact with you, I was just like, everything you were saying, I understood, but you were talking about these transformations that you can get and like how people can radically change their life. And I'm just like, yeah, right, man. No way. Like I've heard, people have told me how they can make these shifts quickly. And I think I've done a lot we're both coaches, and one coach will go from multiple certifications. Like, this is the certification. This is it. And so when I first met you, I'm like, no way, this guy, it sounds like it's too good to be true. And I even wanted to just go on a deep dive with you before we did this podcast. Cause I go, I really want to find out this guy. Like, is he just Fugazi? Is he fake, or is he the real deal? And I've come to the conclusion you're the real deal. And so I was like, all right, let's get on. People need to hear your story and just everything you guys are doing at Encompass Life and your journey too, which I think is so fascinating. So yeah, that was a long intro, but talk to us about, you have such an eclectic background. You've so well traveled, which shaped who you are and your learnings and disappointments and failures and that. And then you've also done so much work with sex trafficking and nonprofit work, as well as just the spiritual and transformational certifications and Kundalini yoga and life coaching. So kind of tell people your journey to where you are now and why what you're doing that you're so passionate about, because you believe it's just really the greatest shortcut to, I don't know, I don't want to say success, but just fulfillment, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know a little something that only I found out for myself with my own introspection years later. And it helped me see why did I end up going to all these countries, learning multiple languages and societies, and then picking up, going from, the medical, what I thought would be medical career, to then to business, and then to the entertainment world, and then back to, or ahead to leadership and coaching again, which I had done periodically. Is that when I was growing up, we moved around a lot, which is probably one reason why it was easy for me to continue to move. And we got to one place where my folks settled and the family settled. And it was, I was like like an animal let out of the, in all this captivity and then let out in the wild. I mean, the kids were just horrendous to me. But a lot of times behind my back. So it wouldn't even give me the opportunity to just figure out how to stand up for myself. So it was just this continuous mockery and shaming behind my back and jealousy stuff, which I, as a real sensitive young boy, was very hurtful. And so years are going on this, and no one really helped me out. Folks didn't really know what to do. Kind of stayed in the same schools, and then went through many, many years of real challenge. And so when I turned the page on that and went to college and I started getting awards and excelling, I was like, who is this guy? Like, how does this even, my self-esteem was so low. But no, I didn't work on it. I didn't have that background. Nobody gave me any tools. No one gave me any perspective. I lived in a very traditional Catholic household, and it's just like, you're in the pew, and then there's a holy guy up there. And so you're not holy because only he's holy. So didn't have any understanding of my own spiritual power either. But that subconsciously patterned into me and drove me to, for years and years on end, to become a super high achiever in whatever I had done. And then when I went to a new country, I'm like, okay, learn the language, hang out with the expats, boring. I'm going to hang out with the locals and figure stuff out. And if I had to fall on my face 20 times saying the wrong stuff, and I got myself into lots of trouble saying yes to stuff I didn't really know what it was many times. So anyway, that went through, and I got to do that over many countries, and finally felt a call to return to the US after 7 years and begin in the entertainment world, not knowing why. And that led to me from some super mentors to go even deeper within, to know thyself, like Socrates said. Was I so fortunate to get that type of teacher in acting and storytelling? That's pretty rare. And that led me to continue to learn all of these different other modalities in Los Angeles, become really adept at Kundalini yoga, Vipassana meditation, a lot of different types of modalities. I'd already been doing management consulting and coaching on both sides, receiving and giving. And then it was only when I already was in mission and I thought, okay, I'm just in service to God here. And like, here I am, I'm going to go to all these dark and hidden places and bring forth the light and bring forth the wisdom and show the beauty in places that are long forgotten and scary for a lot of people. And then, oh no, time to learn again. I found Encompass Life and started learning the quantum leap technique we do here. And I thought I was advanced, humbly, but I thought, oh yeah, I'm ready to serve. And then I was like, wow, there's a lot of stuff in me still. Like, why do I get pissed off at this? And why is this bothering me? Why am I even thinking this thought of thing that happened when I was 10? Like, things I wanted to just turn the page on. We assist people to redevelop their sensitivity inner and become the true controller of your life, your chemistry, your co-creations, and really walk life as a powerful being that you're meant to be. Not just some esoteric idea, oh, you're so powerful. No, really getting strong at being able to do that. It's so changing that I left what I was doing and said, all right, I'm gonna help Encompass Life grow for a while, because this is just stuff everybody deserves to have.
Dude, love that. Okay. Some of the stuff you're saying, though, again, if someone's just tuning in, they're like, yeah, okay, that's a great speech. It sounds great. It sounds like, yes, I can attain my higher self and come to my program and you're going to learn whatever, right? Self-realization, and you're going to crush all your bad habits. But really tell people, like, and again, I really respect, because you've done, your background just says to me, like, you didn't need another certification. You didn't need to go to Quantum Life. You didn't need to get a PhD in life coaching, which I didn't even know there was, but you did. And you're like, oh crap. Like, now that I've done that, if I had just done this first, probably I could have ditched all those other certifications and really started living into my higher purpose. So talk about what makes it different. And then
Yeah.
I want to hear about this quantum leap technique, because it just sounds too good to be true.
Yeah. So the key thing is that it's been important for me to remember, because I was doing a lot of Eastern practices. I thought that maybe enlightenment was attainable, or at least touchable, or at least something that I could smell. Maybe it would be tough to get to, but I would get further and further, like the monastics, the mystics, and they were living out, with very little, but always provided for, and their connection got so strong. And I did that kind of life for a while, and I found that I was always so close, and then I would go somewhere else, have a big upgrade, and then life would come back in again. And I really came to find that there is no, at least for us in this time and space, there isn't any enlightenment. You can move toward it. However, it would rob you of the chance to continue this earth experience if suddenly you were done. If you're just done. Okay, and then what? So these things that happen to us, we want to think, oh, if I the same thing that you just said, people, I wish I would have grown up in a household where we did this. But if you did that, if you got all of the tools really early in life, you would have missed all of the context, the learning of the consciousness that you are here to shift. So with you, it's important and imperative. We had people coming in and doing this work. It's 70 years old, 75 years old. And they're like, man, if only. No, it's perfect, because all of those experiences were essential for you to be able to complete your mission, your earth work, whatever it is that you are here to do and be. All of these things are essential. Time is it's a construct anyway. We're these everlasting beings. So what's a few decades over the course of many millennia? It's like, that's an earthly idea. No, I screwed up. It has to be this by this time. So essentially, to equip people from 20 to 70, whoever comes forth, and we have, like I said, and that's in one of our current advanced classes. We've got guys 20, he started with us when he was 20, he's 23, and this gentleman is in his early 70s. We have a variety of folks, because it's the real inner you. We bypass all of the mental stuff and the Western focus on academia, analytics, strategy, intellect, and we get into the soul level, the subconscious mind, will, and emotions, and become masterful at controlling those for ourselves, at tapping into really what's going on inside of us, what the truth is of what's happening around us, and be able to navigate that, because tension will always be here. We'll always have the journey. There'll always be the roller coaster. But the question is, how do you handle that? Do you have the skill to move beyond any triggers? Can you stand in absolute love when your partner or somebody else is super triggered, screaming or crying or withdrawing? Can you stand, just be in love, divine love in that moment? That takes development. That takes commitment. That takes finding all the things that are blocking you from that and moving those and transforming those one by one. It's way beyond what the intellect, especially just the conscious intellect, can possibly fathom. You know, Joel, you probably already know that your subconscious mind can process 1 million times faster than your conscious mind. 1 million. It's not even comparable. I could fill you, we could take all of our collective stuff we ever actually learned and remembered, plus what we've forgotten, stuck it all in our head, and it would be nothing compared to the automatic programming, the automatic way that my subconscious will respond to stimuli, circumstances, the life around me. So we're helping people do it for themselves, inside of themselves, so that they can become automatically the man and woman that they truly choose to be and can be.
I love that. It's like you're getting to the root cause. And in the beginning, we are, as coaches and just anybody wanting to excel and get better, we're always adding things. And I do the same thing. I'm adding things to do. It sounds like in the beginning, you're actually taking stuff away. Actually, I want to take away all these roadblocks that are getting in your way. Because actually, you're a beautiful person. Your innate intelligence has made you a beautiful, and the universe is ready to take you wherever it wants. But it's actually you're getting in the way of it, Joel. So let me just remove these blocks and take these things away from you. And now, wow, look at this. Lo and behold, you're living into your higher purpose. Does that kind of sound a little bit of what you guys do?
That's in the realm. I would say the big unique difference, that's I think what you're highlighting here, what you're detecting here, is that you have in some cases there will be stuff in the way. So we could say earlier traumas or just stressful circumstances, because of trauma for one, a stressful circumstance for one young boy or one girl, you know, getting ignored or not getting what they choose to have, can be quite dramatic for them, and they can perceive it as a little being, very much like a physical or something much stronger, abuse that happened and goes on. So it's recognizing that, yes, we're going to look at those things, and we're carrying that stuff around, the small and the large, impactful and less impactful. And until I actually address those, it's like your windscreen is clouded over with the bugs and all kinds of stuff from a long drive. You just aren't going to be able to see. And people are like, you just strain to see, like, if I have this great new technique to like see through this tiny peephole of my windscreen of my windshield in my car, I'll see better. If you just clean it off, right? So we're doing that inner cleaning, and it's also appreciating that a lot of these things inside of us they're alive, just like the many we have in our bodies, trillions of bacteria, trillions of viruses, and it's just part of our ecosystem. It's okay. They're not all attacking. It's just part of our ecosystem. Just like that, we all have many subconscious thought forms, energetic parasitical forces inside that are just part of our ecosystem, and they will act in opposition to your next level. Just like a physical parasite is going to send stimuli to your brain, which you think are your old impulses, but it's actually something else, to keep you consuming sugar, to keep you in the vibrational state, which allows them to survive. It's just how nature works. So we're able to detect those and help people learn to detect them, or remember to detect them for themselves, and then become adept at finding. And more than what other people do, like a lot of other modalities and healers, they're like, let it go and release it. If you let a dog go that you've been feeding for 10 years, what's going to happen? Right?
You got to fill that gap too, I'd imagine. That gap, there's an emptiness there. Right?
Exactly. And I love really dialing into words as well. It's a big piece of realizing that we actually are co-creating our circumstances through the words that we're saying. And that's why I pinpoint that. And the same with releasing it. Release it. That's release. You're releasing it again. Why? Because you didn't fully deal with it. It requires to be fully reversed. People say transformation. Well, I can transform an apple to apple shake by just chewing it, right? But did you reverse it until you fully reverse it? If you grew up in scarcity, you're likely to be here to thrive in abundance. Until you go all the way to abundance, there's more to go. And that's all it means. So until you fully do that, that's what we're doing. One of the unique things we're doing is that every time we're going for full transformation. If you've had a little shame about something in your life, You felt some embarrassment. People say, no, I'm really confident now. But is there something that makes you shy, or you won't share, or you have a little embarrassment that's holding you back? It's okay, but recognize that that's meant to turn to pride, healthy, divine pride. It's meant to do that. So it's more than just, I thought as a yogi, okay, I'm just going to get equanimous. That was the word in Vipassana, get equanimous. And I got Zen with so much stuff, man.
Non-bias, non-permeance. I hear that all the time from the Eastern.
I'm just neutral, man. But neutral's just halfway. It's just halfway. Healing is just halfway. Forgiveness is even halfway. Until you get to a full state of complete transformation, gratitude, thriving, and potentially sharing with other people. And a lot of the people that I've worked with who've gone through the trauma we can't even imagine, slavery, other things, they're out there serving other people, helping other people. That's the full, when you get that you've made that fully and you've done it inside yourself, it's like imperative, like an innate thing that, oh, now I got to share this. Now I'm going to help other people with it. And that's what we're doing. We're assisting people in moving on that entire transformational or reversal string, if you will, or path, so they can live out what it essentially is going to be associated with their divine mission. The stuff that you really didn't like when you were growing up and you don't like now, it's been hanging around for a while because it's here to teach you, prepare you for what you're meant to do.
So cool. Talk about the quantum leap technique and what that means, how it works, how fast does it work, and maybe just what are the things you're seeing when people do this. I don't know if it's a simple technique, but when they do this one technique, man, they're getting quantum results.
Yeah, the quantum leap technique is named as such for the quantum leaps that people can make, the instantaneous shifts that go in any area of life, relationship, health. I'll give you some examples. So business, abundance, people within one session, for example, like getting the quarter of their annual revenue within 2 days. Some people doing this work for a year, 10xing their revenue. And then the year another goes by, 10xing it again. They're doing it from the inside, right? We're just doing the inner work. So you can still do all the business stuff, cool. And without doing the inner stuff, outside here is a reflection of the inside. So you marry those two things up. An adept business guy, business gal, now doing the inner work to free up what's been blocking them. Now you're just floating with abundance, right? Same thing with health. We have a variety of people who, there's a woman, it's an incredible couple. One who taking stuff with us now, one was going to have to get surgery on her gallbladder, and they were like preparing to do the whole stuff. She found us, and within a few weeks, she had gone back to the surgeons. They're like, your gallbladder is totally healthy. What did you do? Her husband had been in a significant cognitive decline, young man in his 60s, and he was sloping quickly, and he could no longer read or buckle his belt. And within a few weeks, he could dress himself, starting to put together great sentences, and he's now reading books on brain trauma. Right?
That's crazy.
It's incredible. One on the relationship side, I was talking, it was even just doing an informal conversation over the phone with a friend of mine who had a lot of lived experience through sex trafficking and is a leader now, really a powerful lady. And she was just discussing some random stuff with me. And I said, hey, can I just show you something? Excuse me. I always ask permission before coaching people. I think a lot of coaches, including me before, you're like, want to run in and help people. Like, gonna get you out of this suffering. You don't need to suffer this. Oh, buddy, did you ask for permission? You got to ask for permission. It's not going to go in and you're just forcing your own stuff on somebody else. Like, this is important. So sacred work, I kind of just thought I'd give you a few ideas. I showed her some things that she was saying and doing and how it related to her circumstance. And this was 15 minutes in the car. And a week later, I get a call from her and she's like, I got to talk to you. Now, for some reason, for me, I never liked the sound of that. Like, oh, what's he going to get in trouble? And then she said, yeah, after a session, I had something happen. And I thought, a lot of them, people who've gone through more trauma, you can do a lot of work, but sometimes the triggers are still quite more at the surface. So I thought, oh gosh, did I screw something up? And she's like, yeah, my lawyer called me after our call. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did you do? What did I say to, well, I'm thinking, what did I tell you to do? What did I tell you to say? Did you say something and like now get in some legal trouble? And she's like, no, it was my lawyer called me because my ex-husband's lawyer had called her to tell her that the custody battle, it was more like a power struggle. He wasn't allowing her to leave the state that she lived in, take a new job, take their boys, even though she had custody anyway. He wasn't allowing her to leave the state and wouldn't give her child support. She said, I got a call, and he said he dropped the whole thing. You can go leave the state and you can get whatever money you choose. Just say what it is. I didn't even know about the situation. That's because she changed on the inside. And when we really, it's one thing to say, okay, like the outside is a projection and that's coming from me. And like, it's all hoity-toity, etherical Gaia stuff, right? But when you actually believe that, when you actually do the deepest work and you do the full transformation, instantaneous change, instantaneous. And that's because that's how powerful you are. And that's the actual spiritual law working that most people just have in their head as a kind of cool thing to say in an interview with friends. Yeah, it's just an illusion. Don't worry about it. Well, it's coming from inside of you. So until you deal with that part, it's going to remain to some extent. And then you do it fully, bam. We have people who would have a session, and in the session find some harmony around a family situation. Perhaps in one case, a woman who her daughter had canceled her like 10 years ago. And before cancel was a word, that's what she had done. And during the session, when she was doing this work on herself, afterwards, she turns on her phone and there's a text message from her daughter saying, please, I'm sorry. I'd like to make up. I love you. It's been too long. Can we talk? Just because she did that work within. So for me, it's the ultimate better, more than say this is better than anything else or more sophisticated. It's just different. And what we're doing is we're allowing you to tap into your own power and doing it with you instead of being these Pez dispensers of cool advice. It's more like, hey, would you like to do this right now? Do the transformation you've been avoiding for all these years unknowingly and make a change right now. And then bam, you do it fully, life just instantly changes. It's miraculous, but you're the miracle. Isn't us doing the miracle? It's us guiding you to be the miracle factor you're meant to be. And that's one other reason why I love this is because we empower people. This isn't, whenever you ever go into a therapist who's going to tell you how they know what they know. No, they're going to be like, I think this, you should do this. I don't know. You're this pattern and you're this, attachment bonding and all this kind of stuff. Like, whoa, dude, how about you help me right now shift that? That's not their duty. That's not how they learned. And many coaches the same way. It's intellectual advice stuff. We're going to sit there and do deep woods transformational stuff, like out in the wilderness, but right here online every time. And we're going to do it as long as you stay with it. We'll stay through the heat, the sweats, the cries, the yells. You can bring it all at me. I'll be sitting right here. I'm like, all right, you ready to change that now? And we sit with you until you do it.
So I come to you and I'm like, Michael, I want to work with you. This sounds great. I want more success in my marriage or my business or my health. I'm overweight. I need to lose weight. Any of these things, these are the main big topics that everybody's always looking for transformation in. And you're like, great, Joel, like this is gonna be awesome. Can that happen? Or because you're saying this quantum leap technique, can that happen just in one session? Like, is it like a 1 hour session with you? And it's like, boom, like, see you later. I don't need you anymore. Or like, how do you see that usually working?
Yeah, it can happen in one session. Remember though, that you're an infinite being. So how much are you happy now that, you made, $100,000? Okay. I made $100,000. Yeah. That's it. Are you happy? Okay. That's all you want in life. How about like deep fulfillment? How about growing in divine love? How about succeeding with ease in your body instead of frustration? How about feeling a beautiful, like igniting love in those around you? Like we work in outcomes. If you look at results, yeah, sure. You can cross off a result. I made this much money, done. But then did you really know how you did that? Like, now, can you repeat that for yourself? There's the question. So we're going to sit with people and say, well, sure, take your result. If you really like to have a real outcome that literally you can then command and change your life with, then here, let's do this. And so we invite people to become their own catalyst for change, to help coach themselves, heal themselves, create their own abundance through their beautiful inner world, and become adept at that to the point where if they choose, they can then share it with other people. We have coaches, doctors, managers, people who work with other people. A lot of those folks gravitate to this work because it's so life-changing for them, but they can then do that with the people that they serve or the people that work for them. So we're truly empowering people, and as opposed to, get your hot shot results in 30 days or less. Like, you can get some, but there's a lot more pieces to really sustain that and grow that and give you the tools. We're going to give you the tools from the very beginning. You getting adept at them is what we walk with you to do.
Yeah. And that's just thinking about that. That's a lifelong journey sometimes, because it's like every time, there's always roadblocks, new levels, I guess, is what I would say. It's interesting what you were saying, the story about working with people and like your friend, for example, and then all of a sudden she had this, this weight that was over her. And now it's like, now that custody battle is over. It reminded me of this story of Wayne Dyer, anybody who knows Wayne Dyer, he's passed away now, but he was like I always call him like the Tony Robbins in the 1970s, before Tony Robbins was popular. And he was telling this story about how this woman, who was honestly, like, from what it sounds like, was crazy. Like, she was crazy in the head, but she was suing him because she read one of his self-help books or something, and she, blamed him for her psychosis, basically. And he's just like, at first, he's like, typical, like the carnal side of him's like, come on, lady, like, are you serious? And like, this was like dragging out in court, and he was just like, just annoyed and peeved by it. And then finally he says, you know what? Started like reflecting on it, and I realized this person's just hurt, and like, it is what it is, and like, I'm gonna let this go because it's actually eating up me. And so he said, I guess he contacted his assistant and said, you know what, send so-and-so some flowers. I'm gonna write her a note and just say, like, and he told his lawyer also, whatever she asked for, just give her. I just want this case to go away. It's fine. I'm good with it. And he said the moment he did that, after he sent some flowers just saying, like, I hope you have a nice life, like, it's totally fine with me, she dropped the case. She dropped the case. So it kind of sounds almost like what you said, like, he had to let that go, that energy, that he had to let it go for that transformation to happen. And also what I was thinking about, like, we trick ourselves a lot, and for good reasons, right? We try to bury that energy. We try to bury those problems by positive affirmations and looking at my goal and visualizing my dreams and all that stuff. But if that energy's still there, it sounds like you're saying, it doesn't really matter. You can put as many positive affirmations as you want over it. You're never going to attain that higher level because you never fixed it. You never reversed it, right?
Exactly. So what we do here is help people see that all of life is a blessing. Everything, every conversation, every situation, every missing thing where we tend to judge and say it should have happened this way. What's wrong with this person for not responding? Why I've done a great job. Why is this case happening? Is just to detect and then pattern yourself to do this, is just to respond to your stimuli with that sort of inquiry. Automatically respond to that stimuli with celebration, gratitude. Like, why would you do that? This person just screwed everything up. Because it's happening for you. When you get how this universe actually works, again, more than the esoteric idea, oh, we're all one and the universe works for me. But what does that mean on the day-to-day basis? A lot of smart spiritual teachers and coaches and people are like spitting this stuff, but their lives are a mess because they didn't embody any of the stuff they're talking about. So what we're doing is embodiment work and working, and as each triggers going to come up, we do very deep stuff and they come up, but we're going to show together you and then do it with you to like reverse those. And you just start doing it enough and then life gets to become way more playful and fun, not because you made it and said, it's going to be all love and light, but because you start to become in charge. You're like, wait a minute, that's just a reaction from me. What is that? And be able to slow down, analyze it, and then reverse it and get a blessing, get a gift out of everything that happens to me. And I get to still do this I've done it to the extent that I've been able to do it. And it's exceptional compared to before. And still something comes up, but now I have a tool like, oh, wow, what's that? That was an uncomfortable circumstance. Why is that? What did I do to create that? And then I shift the pattern inside of myself that created that to create the reverse of that. So yeah, we're energetic beings, and we're holding these invisible cords, these tug of war ropes with people without realizing it. And when you drop your end, more so when you actually drop it with love, and you find the gratitude and the tug of war that happened to that point, then it no longer needs to exist and will just go away instantaneously. If it takes longer, it just means there's more there. That's all. Not wrong or right. Fast isn't better. It just means you just did it fully already, and some things are going to take some more time. But having the emotional maturity, we're really helping people develop that and emotional intelligence inside to be able to say, this is going to be happening. How am I going to deal with this? How am I going to play this life game? And be able to do that. We do people again and again and again together, which makes it like with eyes open, present, not floating away in meditation with plant medicine, things like that. They have their purpose, but you already have all of this inside. It's all inside. So wouldn't you like to tap into that instead of depend on some, okay, I'm stressed. I got to go do yoga class, or I got to go to get my massage, or I've got to go do my technique or do a ceremony. It's right inside of you right now. So when you get good at, share this technique and stay with you, stay as things come up, and we do it again and again until it's like, I can do this. And some people it's faster, and some people it takes more time. It's not right or wrong. It's just your own shape, like it's like Olympic training for your soul, basically. Or like the veterans clients that we have, you're like the Navy SEALs of coaching. Like it's intense, and also it's fast, and it's powerful, and you come out elite. So it depends on where you choose to go with your life.
Yeah. Everything you're saying resonates with me, flipping things on the head of, this is actually a blessing. Life is happening for me, not to me. And I always say I'm being protected and promoted by even the bad things the quote unquote bad things that happen. But more recently, I've also come to the terms for my own life personally is that since I was 18, I developed a lot of this positive mindset because I was hurt during that time period. I was lost. And so I found Tony Robbins and a lot of other coaches, and that led me on my path of self-growth. But one of my reflections for myself now as a 41-year-old is, man, I actually didn't feel things because I didn't want to feel them. And so I'd love to get your take on the difference between, yes, Joel, you do want to see the good in all of this and see the blessing in it. But there's also a part like you can't deny like your feelings in that moment and just sugarcoat everything with like, oh, let me just think of 3 things I'm grateful for. And it's okay. I got a flat tire and I'm going to be late because, there's probably an accident on the road and this is protecting me. Right. I can do that sometimes, but what about feeling things? And also the 2-part to this, Michael, and I'm wondering, is I have kids. And so sometimes when I teach them some of these ideas of like, hey man, it's all good. My wife will even say to me like, yeah, Joel, but you can't deny them their feelings. Like they need to understand, like you're almost making it seem like it's bad to feel bad, and you don't want that. So how do you make that little nuance there?
We're big on feelings. It's so important to feel your feelings. The thing is that our society has made it, dramatic, or, somehow you're not in control if you have feelings. That's like something, this is the thing that we're showing people is that your feelings are your EGS, like your emotional guidance system. They will show you what's going on inside of yourself. It's really important to actually feel them, like allow them to be here. And then once you've actually been with it, you will get the chance to then utilize it to do something. So what happens is people either avoid them, shove them down, get rid of them, stand up, be a man, or that's enough crying already, or that they'll wallow. Oh, don't deprive me of my feelings. I'm going to cry. And I want your sympathy and all that kind of stuff. No, it's a mechanism. It's a skill. It's a sense, like our 6th sense inside of us that we were never shown how to use. And so allow them to be here. Absolutely. Seeing them without judgment. And then, okay, now are you ready to utilize this circumstance, to utilize these feelings to propel you forward? And now we have what we call a scale of emotions, where it's like a different steps that different emotions come through. And it starts with unconsciousness. That's the very first one. People think that they know everything that's going on. There's so much stuff that all of us are unconscious to, that's actually occurring in our lives, in our own inner universe, and playing out on the screen of life. So as we bring these forth, we have various ones that we're going to go through. And our goal is to embrace where we are. Great. You've got some fear going on. Great. People come to a call, they're pissed off. They're like, I feel pissed off today. Great. Fantastic. Tell me about that. And then we're going to help them become masterful of their feelings, and then eventually move to the ultimate feeling, which is enthusiasm, which is different than the American common idea. The enthusiasm, the way we talk about it, is the root word of the is in theos, or in theos, which is in God. So God and me. So when I'm out totally aligned with the divine, then I'm in my, maybe what some will call the vortex, or my perfect divine love space. But we're saying, okay, grab where you are, and then let's move you up to enthusiasm, so that you can then be like, oh my gosh, my kid did this. Oh my gosh, the teacher's calling me. Oh wow, this client did that. Wow, okay, something big must be happening for me, instead of the immediate reaction. So moving from reaction to response, and then utilizing your feelings to help you get there. So we're very feeling oriented. We embrace it, and we help people become masterful of their own feelings.
Amazing. That's good stuff. You mentioned enlightenment a while earlier in the podcast, and I'd love to get your take on. I've done a lot of just reading on metaphysics and Nisargadatta, I am that, and you know, these are yogis and people talking about achieving this enlightenment and what you kind of, you know, steps that maybe you need to take to reach that level. And I aspire for it every day. And sometimes I read, though, like, you know, these Eastern philosophy, these books and these yogis, and I'm like, yeah, well, easy for you to do, buddy. You know, you didn't have kids. You lived in a freaking cave for 30 years meditating. I'm sure I could reach enlightenment too. And you mentioned also you can't reach enlightenment, I think is what you said. Maybe I butchered that, but
Yeah,
tell
no.
me, what do you think about that? Can people be enlightened in the real world, the world where we have cell phones and distractions, and like, what do you think?
I think it's a real big challenge. But more than just, what I'd like to do is get away from this idea that it's a light switch. Like, okay, I'm done. I've gotten it. It's a pathway. I have been traveling a pathway of enlightenment, becoming lighter, enlightened, in light, in God. Scripture says God is light. So I'm coming in light. My true light is shining through me. However, to be done, like, it's enlightenment. It's over. It's finished. My sense about it is, after doing years and years of work, watching years and years of work, is that it's beyond, that concept is beyond attainment, especially because of where we are, maybe also where we are vibrationally on the earth, but all the things we've got going on, coming through the airwaves and the water and food and the all the channels and all the so many things going on. But yes, and yes, on all the obligations and responsibilities. If I could just go and live in the mountains, like, I definitely contemplated. At the same time, I feel I'm called here to have a foot in both worlds. People are like, I'm going to 5D. Well, you know what? We're all here in 3D, and there are people that may require your assistance. Maybe you're here, but you got a lot of skills, or a lot of real drive for what you're doing, because you're here to help people bridge that gap, to move into get on their path of enlightenment, get on their path of mission, enjoy all the abundance that they've created, lift up their kids in new ways. Like, you're here to do that. And so, do you choose to really escape this? I mean, you came to Earth for a reason. Is it to escape Earth? It's gonna happen anyway. So how about instead embracing where we are and taking the path of greater enlightenment, taking the path of ascension, taking the path of becoming the greatest human being that you can be, well, without judging yourself for not getting there, or thinking that something is going to get you somewhere else. No, it's going to be you. It's always going to be you. You're ultimately the answer. So I just choose to be humble. I choose to be practical, and I choose to grow as fast as I can with fun, and also help other people do that, and move away from these result-oriented things, and just be into space of appreciation for where I am, gratitude for what's going on, and then choosing to continue to grow, because that's who I am, and I love to grow.
Yeah, who doesn't love to grow? Out of all the modalities and your coaching, your certification, and just your life experience, is there a surprising piece of knowledge that you think not many people know about?
When it comes to knowledge alone,
Maybe not knowledge,
we're
Michael.
using like ancient wisdom, right? I mean, what
Well,
we're doing
I'm just
is like,
wondering too, because you coach a lot of people and you work with a
no,
lot of people, and we might have already actually covered it. It might have been something you said earlier in the
no,
conversation, but I'm just wondering if there's something that
yeah.
maybe a reoccurring theme, or people come to you and you're like, man, it blows my mind. I wish I could get on a billboard and just tell everybody this, because it's And
Yeah.
maybe it's the answer you said earlier, like, guys, you have it in you. You don't need anything else. It's
Right.
just in you. Maybe that would be your billboard. I don't know.
It would be the real key. There, the wisdom comes from many places, and there's a lot of great wisdom. It's without the embodiment, it's just ephemeral. It can come and go, and you could have really captivating days and really down days, and not really sure why. It's about the embodiment and the contrast, and really embracing the contrast. That, yes, again, like I mentioned about the inside of ourselves, we have all these different things going on. If it doesn't, until you've embraced that concept and become adept at dealing with these things inside of you, then I could give you all the wisdom. We could have all the wisdom in the world. If you're going to run into that contrast, you're going to run into that block, that distraction, that apathy, that pissed off about what stuff. If you don't know where that's coming from, and you just think it's you, and you just think it's whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the essence. The key thing is that patterns are. I'll say that there's forces inside of you, that subconscious thought forms. There are a lot of names for these different types of things. There's like a variety of other things in your body. You've got these energetic things as well, and they're part of your universe. And becoming adept at dealing with them, and utilizing them to grow is the key. And the thing is, that made the difference for me is to feel it. It's one thing I can talk about it, but it's when I talk about it and talk with people, and then I'm like, just do it for a little while. And when you start seeing these things inside of yourself and feeling them, it's like, no, the light bulbs start going off. It's like, oh, that stuff's real that they were talking about. It's not just like a cool keyword like pattern, change your behavioral systems. It's like, but until you feel it and you're actually going through that in yourself, it's like, oh, that's what that is. That's not me. That's not I dated a lady once who thought she was her patterns. Even though we would talk openly, and she'd get really ticked off and in different circumstances. And I would say, hey, it's interesting. Did you realize that you were really angry with the people that were helping you in this situation, this event? And I, said, you'd like to talk about that, or, just kind of open the door. And she was very closed off. She's like, you should love me for that. I'm like, that's not you. You're a divine being of light. Like, that's the other stuff that you're here to transform and transmute. And so it's like, until you really get that and feel that, that's the wisdom. The wisdom, knowledge wise, is here. Embodiment is the key, and being able to become adept at noticing these things and shifting them. That's going to be key to the sustainability of your business, the size of your business, your beauty, and that you grow in your relationship. You can be growing in love and intimacy all of your years. People think, oh, the best years are behind me. No, only if you think in the 3D way, like the movies say and people around you say. If you're an infinite being of love, then you can continue to grow and grow, but you require to make the commitment to do that.
Yeah.
It's not just going to come, just wing it. We got this. I've seen relationships. I've been in one a while. I was parented. Doesn't work that way. You require to grow, opt to grow, make the commitment, and face the stuff inside of you that you don't want to talk about and you're looking to avoid. That's where the goodness is. That's where the juice is. And when you go in here, wow, like you open up things beyond your imagination for yourself.
Yeah. Wow. What are some exciting projects you got going on? Anything upcoming that you're excited about?
Well, I got many things that give me, that I'm really super stoked about. What we're doing in Encompass Life and expanding our ability to, our ability to bring along coaches or people using this modality in their healing practices, etc. Be able to have now offer a master's in transformational life coaching is fantastic for us, because people like that. I have degrees, but it's about what's going on inside of me first. But that's really important in our society that people like that. So to be able to offer that's really cool. And I also, as you mentioned at the outset, have been an activist in human trafficking for some time. And I've been a little bit focused on Encompass Life the last year. And now I'm bringing forth a couple of projects. One is a website I'm having someone develop, which is a home for survivor leader initiatives. Like, you may have heard about some of the bigger initiatives going on, and they tend to be a little more marketing focused. They doesn't always how they make it sound to be. I find that the most inspirational people and the people that deserve that attention and support, and also doing the coolest grassroots work are the people who lived it. Like I said before, about what you survived, what you made it through, what you're grappling with is precisely part of your mission. So I have a website that I'm developing to feature their speaking and their consulting and their programs and their restoration and healing work and mentorship work. And then I'm going to launch a skincare brand that will be able to support that, because I worked a lot of nonprofits and it's chasing the donors. My perspective is, being a man in business, is like, create a revenue stream which can pay for your service, create a revenue stream, sure, accept donations, and become sustainable, become reliable by offering something that is important for people, that's high quality, and that empowers your journey so that you can be, yes, interconnected with others, and you can ensure that your initiative continues to live on. So if you're a coach and you like to give all of your time away, that's okay. But do you get, are you getting donations for that work, or are you just being a hobbyist, right? And just, so if you can develop a sustainable way, that whether you're charging for your work or you're taking donations or you have a product, like, think of more of an ecosystem. And that's how I've been thinking. And also creating content, because I love making films and shows. And so it will also eventually then include a lot of content to help bring them their beautiful stories and projects to our world, and then to also inform other people on what they can actually do day to day to safeguard their children, all of our children, and really turn this situation around, which is a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you back on to talk about that, because I think that's a rabbit hole I'm learning more about, and I'd love to have an expert like yourself who's done a lot of work there talk about it. So yeah, we'll have to have a separate podcast on that.
My pleasure.
Michael, I want to wrap things up, but
Yeah.
I want to ask you just a couple final round questions, and then I'll have you tell everybody where they can find you and learn more about you and follow
Cool.
you on social. What's a guy like you? I'm curious, what kind of habits, practices, rituals? Is there like a daily like kind of rituals that you go by?
Yes, I've done a lot of different things over time. Most recently, I start my day with the divine. I feel like if I really put my foundation on my spiritual self, on the divine at the beginning, then I'm building on a solid foundation. So I'm really dropping into some reflection, contemplation, prayer, journaling, things that are coming, open the channel through me to enable me to get the guidance. One of my teachers said, go to headquarters and get your information. Stop trying to think you know it. Just so I get my information from headquarters, and then I carry it on through the day. And that I allow that time to be flexible. So if I notice something inside of myself that requires work to be examined, to be shifted, I'll use that as well to do this type of work that we do here, this inner emotional journey, finding these little nuggets, like, okay, what's going on here? And examining those. So I really create that first part of the day that's my main focus. Sometimes I do exercise after that, but that can be later in the day, depending on my obligations, breath work, some different things to part of my overall day. But that's kind of how I start. It's always spiritual. And then I ensure that I'm really taking care of my body temple as well at some point through the day, whether it be through martial arts or running or lifting and some different things. I also have background in fitness and health. So I love getting into that. So really respecting all parts of me, body, mind, and spirit every day, as more of that's just to continue to keep my harmony, but always starting and finishing the day with a meditation as well. So I clear the decks and really bookend my day really solidly for myself. So that's really what I've been most into lately.
Yeah, dude. Okay, I love that. That's awesome. Books, are there I'm a big reader. Are there's like a top 1 to 3 books that just jump out at you as like, man, you got to go out and read these because they changed my life, and I'm sure they do the same for you?
I've read a lot of books, and I've consumed a lot on audio as well, which has been more of my preferred thing after spending so much time in front of the screen recent years. And it kind of depends on where anybody's at. People ask me about books. I say, well, what is it that you're really working with right now? What is it that you're really that's up in your journey to really look at? If there's something going on in relationship or about finances or things like that, it would be a different one. I'm getting a greater appreciation for as one of the tying into our work is Neville Goddard, who maybe isn't as he speaks in the, when I hear the old audiobooks, it's that old sort of early 1900s, mid 1900s sort of sound, the different cadence and stuff. So it has a different resonance. And what he's sharing is really tapping into the quantum field in the kind of the work, an aspect of the work that we're doing. So it's a little bit different sounding. I love his examples and the way that he's presenting it. And if you can move beyond just the reading that and just practice it and do that, it's a muscle. So it's more than just the intellectual knowledge of it. It's the putting into place, which makes it so powerful. So that's, Neville Goddard has a variety of books, and also this is really good. It's the Baird Spalding wrote a trilogy called Lives and Masters of the Far East, Lives and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And he went to the Far East and found people like, transporting and creating food in their hand and creating storms. And they were like, just doing it. And they were like, well, how could you do this? They're like, well, you guys have Jesus, right? Like, why are you asking me? You already have an example. We just did what he said to do. It's like, whoa. So to see this stuff, like, I love examples and stories. So to hear them, grounded like that's like, really, really cool. And so there's a lot of content. So it's not a thing you just kind of bathe in, as opposed to like memorize, just bathe in it and say like, what is possible for me? Wow, these things can happen. And these guys are saying you should be able to like, go ahead and do it. Why are you making me a big deal? It's not me. Like, it's you. It's inside of you. So there's some incredible stuff available, certainly. And I choose to keep going for enlightenment, man. I choose to become even better miracle worker and all that. I still love that. Hear me, Joel. Like, this stuff's really cool for me.
Yeah.
And also the perspective of, wow, like when I'm humble and I remain as a student of life, instead of saying, hey, Michael, I got all these years and I've done all this stuff and listen to me. It's more like, I still say I'm student. Because when I shut that door and say, I got it, I'm an expert, and this is usually here on a coaching session or people like, I know. That's like them saying, no, to what's going on. You shut the door of your intuition. You close your vision. It's essential to keep us a student of light, which is why Yeshua, Jesus said, it will be the children that will be like go with the mind of a child will be able to go to heaven, because they are the ones who play, they imagine, they're humble, they don't judge, they're this open vessel. And we forget that as adults in our busy world. So be the open vessel, be forever the student, and you will continue to be able to receive at high levels, depending on your commitment, of course.
Yeah. Powerful stuff, dude. Amazing. Man, last but not least, just tell people where they can find you, connect with you, and just learn more about everything that you're up to.
Yeah, well, Michael Matucci, at Michael Matucci is my handle on social media. You can also, that's Michael and Matucci, MAT, like yoga mat, and then UCCI, like the founder of, like the real discoverer of America, who America's named after, Amerigo Vespucci. Anyway, but you can just come on over to my website. I have a special link for you. It's called encompasslife.com/breakthrough. That's Encompass Life, coming around, encompasslife.com/breakthrough. And I'll have some content on there. You can book a call with me if you'd like to explore how these methods could work for you. And yeah, delighted to connect with folks and serve you. If you've been touched by this, if you heard this, there's probably a reason. There's probably a reason. It's not just to fill up your workout while you're listening to Joel and keeping pumped while you're working out. It's probably you're hearing this because there's something deeper for you. So come on over and give me a shout.
Amazing. Michael Matucci, love you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you coming on.
Likewise, Joel. Thank you, man. Great to be here. Great to share some time with you.